Just wondered if you'd had any indication about when the appeals, Jon Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton's appeals, might be heard, and is there any sort of ongoing concern from you that those guys might end up not being eligible for the Ryder Cup?
I have had zero conversations. You know, again, that's a question for Guy Kinnings. I do not get involved with the politics of that. So my concentration is to get the best 12 players to New York, and hopefully everyone is eligible.
Assuming all doors are open and everybody's eligible, how do you try to assess these guys like Jon Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton and Sergio Garcia, knowing what they're capable of doing in the Ryder Cup, but not being up in the points with everybody else, or maybe as competitive in the points to automatically qualify? How do you assess what they're capable of and making those choices when the time comes?
Well, first and foremost, data analytics. We do have pretty in-depth data, even on the guys on Live. And so we can track. We know exactly how they're playing. And then obviously the majors are important. I think that's the time when everyone gets together and on good golf courses, and you have stacked fields, and just to see how they're playing in those is another point that we take into consideration quite a lot.
And also knowing how intense the atmosphere is likely to be at Bethpage, how important will it be having guys who've been in that cauldron before over more rookies?
Yeah, I think I will certainly give a little bit more of importance to experience, people who have been able to handle those big moments under the most scrutiny, those major championships, people who can step up, have had chances to win or have won major championships. I think it's something I will definitely consider, and it will be something that could give someone an edge if they're on a very similar playing field in terms of statistics.
Alex, right here.
Yeah. Luke, you said part of your job is to put together the best team. And I know you said also that you're not involved in the process in regards to Tyrrell or Sergio or John. But does that mean you wouldn't advocate for them if the process went there against them?
Well, I would love for them to be eligible, but again, I'm not involved in that process. That is not my role. I'll leave that up to Guy, and I think he can answer that one better than me.
So just to confirm, so you do believe that your role is to get the best team together, but yet you wouldn't be willing to advocate for those guys if they weren't eligible?
Well, I think Guy knows that I want my best 12. Let's put it that way. But I haven't talked to him about that.
Okay. Over to Mike 5 and then Mike 2.
Luke, sorry, over. Hi. Of your 12, how many would you say are locked in currently? And as part of that, Jon Rahm was asked yesterday if he's basically been given a nod and a wink to say that you're in one way or the other, but you deferred that question to you. So, yeah.
Well, I haven't given anyone a nod. I think it's a little bit too early for that. Again, we have very in-depth stats. We know exactly how these players are playing. We have a great idea of where they stack up against each other and against the US. But I think it's a little too early to be giving anyone like firm assurances right now. We have 3 majors, Elevate events, plenty of other events, Rolex events to play, and I want them to go out and go out and feel like they go and earn it, and that's going to play well. But again, we do have a lot of stats in terms of John. He's one of the best players in the world, and I would expect him to be on that team, but I certainly haven't given him those assurances. He needs to still keep going and playing, and just like everyone else. That's, again, no assurances have been given right now.
Adam?
Luke, over here to your right. Somewhat related to that, do you watch Live Golf to see how those guys are playing?
I tune in now and again, yep. Absolutely.
Are the majors more important for those guys than on the PGA Tour because you have a little maybe less sample size or less data for the Live players?
I think majors are important for everyone. But it's important for me, the majors, because personally, I don't see the Johns, the Tyrrells, Sergios, etc. As much these days. So in terms of just talking with them and seeing them face to face, like, that's important for me.